Of Alcoholics Anonymous.
I'm Nelson. I'm an addict alcoholic. I'm feeling kind of nervous because it's my first time sharing, but I'm really excited. So basically, I was born in Amsterdam. I don't really remember a lot of my childhood, but I remember it was kind of laid back. It was kind of easy. I moved to New York because of my dad's work when I was 2 years old, so I've been in the city since I was 2. And I remember in kindergarten, I'm going to go to kindergarten, but in kindergarten, I went to a public school, and it was good the first year of kindergarten. Then first grade was kind of just I didn't want to go to school. I didn't really feel like the other kids. It was really hard for me to just do work in general. I didn't really know what was going on, and I would just fake sick all the time. And second grade was also really hard. I ended up getting this person to help me with work because I just couldn't keep up with all the other kids, and it kind of sucked. And I kind of looked at myself as I was stupid in a way, and it just wasn't really enjoyable for me. So third grade, I got diagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD, and that was really hard for me to hear. I kind of heard it as a way of I wasn't like everyone else, and I don't know, I was a special person or whatever. So I kind of I just didn't really accept that, and I didn't want to have dyslexia and ADHD, and it was really hard for me to just go to school. I went to a new school after I found out I got diagnosed with that. It was this school that helped kids with learning disabilities, and it was kind of this free-based summer camp type thing where they did knitting, and they did all this stuff that was just what is this? Now I feel I don't feel like I'm actually doing anything, and it really sucked. I mean, I made a lot of friends. I was always the popular kid in school, but I never wanted. I always was the class clown, and I always wanted to make people laugh. I just wanted to be recognized, but just academically it was just really tough for me. I ended up moving out of that school because it was just a mess, and I went to this school that actually helped fully with there was a lot of help and support. I met these 2 people when I first went to this new school, and they were my best friends for a while. I was able to actually feel kind of I was able to do the work at that point. It was really good. I was oh, I found my place. This is awesome. And it just got easier from there. The 7th grade was my best year of school. It just was easy. I was doing well in school. My family was good. Everything was good. And it was just easy to do stuff. I don't know. And then 8th grade was kind of the year where it kind of fell apart. I ended up being friends with people outside of school, and being friends with people outside of school, and I kind of just didn't really want to pay attention in school. I just wanted to have my life outside of school. School was really never for me, and it was just every single day I wanted to just see other people, because the people in my school I didn't really like them, and it was just a pain. So I met a bunch of people outside of school through parties and stuff. And that was the first year kind of drugs came into my life, which was in 8th grade, and it was kind of I started vaping and stuff, and I liked it, but it was scary, and I was scared of vaping because all the people around me did it, and I kind of wanted to fit in more. And I remember I have asthma, so I bring my inhaler the first time I hit a vape because I was so scared, and I just wanted to do it because they were doing it, and I wanted to feel like them, and I wanted to feel like I was fit in with them. And yeah, so I started hanging out with that group. I started going to school. I didn't do any of my homework at all. And it was just kind of I was free. My parents didn't really know what was going on. I had really bad grades. I ended up skipping school in 8th grade. And that's kind of when drinking and drugs. Drugs is a big part of my story. I know this isn't an NA meeting or a CA meeting, but that's a really big part of my story. So yeah, I started smoking weed. And the first time I smoked weed, I was really I was what is this? I sprayed myself with a bunch of Axe body spray. So I was paranoid that my parents were gonna smell it, and it was just such a bad experience. It was so bad. I was I'm never doing this again. This is stupid. So then after I smoked weed that first time, I got really scared, and I was I don't like these people because this is not what I want to do, and they're just doing that all the time. So then I stayed in my house and just played video games for like a very long time, and I didn't see those people at all, and I was really like sad, and I was just like, after school I would go right home, not do any of my homework. Just throughout the whole school day I would just think of going home and just sitting in my room and playing video games. I still had some friends at the time, but like, I don't know, something was up. My parents noticed it. They're like, what's wrong with them? They're just like, oh, it's just teenager stuff, blah, blah, blah. Summer into ninth grade of school, I got back from New Zealand, and the people that I used to hang out with like hit me up, and they were like, yo, we miss you so much, bro, come see us. I went to go see him, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I was like, oh, it's so good to see you, blah, blah, blah. They're like, you want to go smoke with us? I'm like, sure, I don't see why not. And I smoked with them, and it was like crazy. I got like really high, and I really loved it, and I just like everything felt like easy, and it was really calm, and I just remember that really vividly. And yeah, I started to hang out with those people every single day after school. I started to buy like my own like wax pen, and I would just use that throughout the whole day of ninth grade, and pretty much it was just like a mess. Like I was really sad. I didn't really know what was going on. Like all I wanted was weed, and drinks, and it was just like that for, I don't know, 2 months. And the people at school were like, do you need help? And I'll always like push that away, because I was like, I know what I'm doing, thank you. Like, but I really didn't know what I was doing at all. And this group of people eventually, it just kind of cycled. I did a lot more drugs. A lot of my using was in ninth grade, and I just, like, acid got introduced to me, like Adderall got introduced to me, like shrooms, like everything, like, and it kind of just like went like this, like really fast in ninth grade, and it was really overwhelming and really scary, and I didn't know what to do at all. And I was just like this ball that like was like filled with just like a bunch of like negative stuff, and I was just so like worried of like, I didn't think I was gonna have a future. I thought my life was over, and it was really scary. One night in ninth grade that really like put me like, I don't know, just like made me think, was I took Adderall, and I got really paranoid, and I was so overwhelmed, and the next morning I was just like fucked up, and I tried to go to school. I attempted to go to school, and I wasn't able to go to school because just so much was going on. I ran home, and I like cried for like an hour to my mom. I was like, Mom, I have a really big drug problem, and I need help. And she was like, what do you mean? I thought you just like did it sometimes. And I told her everything. That's kind of when I opened up into sobriety, and I wanted to get better. So they looked for outpatients for me, and they looked for like rehabs for me, and I found an outpatient. And my intention was to get sober, but the first day I went to that outpatient, they were like, so acid, drinking, and shrooms doesn't show up on your test. I'm like, oh, great. Like, and I was like, fuck. So, of course, I wanted to get sober, but I just couldn't. It really sucked, and it was really hard for me, because outpatient was 3 times a week, and we're still in ninth grade. And I kind of just, after the meetings, I would go steal from Dwayne Reed and drink with the people in the groups, and it just was so like unproductive. But I thought I was sober at the time, and that was my intention. Like, I'm sober. I'm going to like this outpatient. I'm sober, and everyone was like, "Why do you drink?" I'm like, "Only sometimes." And yeah, and eventually, I got laced with codeine and mushrooms, and that showed up on the test. And my dad thought I was doing great, and they were like, so codeine showed up on your test? I'm like, really? And he's like, I think I just got laced in a drink. And he was like, oh, okay. So he didn't really know. Like, he didn't know, because I was going to this outpatient thing, so he was like, he's doing great. But yeah, I stopped going to school. Like, I lied to the therapist there. It was just so unproductive, and I remember the first time I checked in the outpatient, I was like, I need to go away. It was just too much to handle. Like, life itself was just too much for me, and it was too overwhelming, and I just couldn't stop. And I don't really remember much, because when I was using, I was always that person that would use till you would just not remember anything. Like, I don't remember any of the days, like how I got home, what happened, and yeah. So I got laced with codeine, and then one night I was really drunk in my room, and I was a drinker that would drink by themselves in the room until they like fell asleep. And a lot of my drinking was when I was an outpatient from January to March. because that was the thing that didn't show up on the test. And I remember I drank in my room, and I was like spinning on my chair, and my dad was like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Nothing's wrong with me. I'm fine. What do you mean? Like, I'm going to outpatient. I'm good." He's like, "I smell alcohol." I'm like, "No, you don't." And I remember I got passed and I was acting all weird. He's like, "I think I'm going to have to send you away, man." And I'm like, no. So then I texted all my friends. I was like, "Yo, where can I stay? I need drugs right now. Like, I need to use before like my dad sends me away." This night was a blizzard, and I remember I packed for a whole week. Like, I was ready to go and not return home. Like, that was my intention. And he was like, "Yo, I have a trip candy on me," which was like LSD. Like, it was like a really high amount. And I went to this kid's house in the blizzard with like my mom's jacket, shorts, and like these snow boots. And it was a 30-minute walk. And it was 2 a.m. And I went in his basement. I was like, "Yo, I'm here. And he was like, all right." He was so tired. He was like really like drunk. He's like, "Just be quiet, man." I'm like, all right. So we went up to his like attic. He had like this whole like he made an attic out of like cardboard. It was like an apartment, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the entire world. And I always wanted to be there. I always wanted to live there. He was like, "Yeah, you can live here now." I'm like, "Oh, yay!" Like, I was so excited. So he was like, "I'm getting tired now." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Can we do the acid already?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So we did it. We heard his mom. He was like, "Yo, act like you're sleeping." I'm like, "Okay." So we acted like we were sleeping. He fell asleep on me. I'm like, "What do I do?" So I freaked out. This was the most I ever tripped. Like, everything was going crazy. I had a panic attack. I ran down this kid's house. It's like 3 stories. I woke up his parents. I'm like, "Oh, hi." And I just kept running. And then I fainted when I was trying to put on my shoes. And I don't remember what happened. And I walked out of that house, and I'm like, "I need to go home right now and tell my mom." So I like was in a shirt and pants and snow boots. Like, no, I didn't. I had a shirt on, yeah. And it was like the snow was like up to my knees or whatever. It was really bad. And on that walk home, like, I was freaking out. Like, I was like, I gotta go home. And my phone was dead. And I left his door open. And I got home. I know when I was walking home, I remember this moment where I fainted in the snow, walking up this hill, and something told me, like, "You can do this, you can get home, like, you're going to be okay." And that, like, really, like, I'm so grateful for that moment. And that's, like, my higher power, and it's just crazy. Like, I just remember that so vividly. And I walked home, and my house was upside down, and I was like, fuck. Like, I'm just dehydrated. I took off, like, all my clothes, and I was freaking out. I tried to get water, but I couldn't even drink the water. I was like, "Mom, I'm tripping off acid." And she's like, "Why is your hair wet?" I'm like, "It doesn't matter, Mom. I just need help." So she was able to help me. The next morning, I got sent away to inpatient. And this is, like, a big part of my recovery. Inpatient was really hard for me. I went in Florida. It was really hard for me. Like, the first month and a half, I wanted to just leave. I wanted to get out. But I told myself, like, you only want this one time. Like, if you do this right now, you don't want to be back here. So I really put in the work every single day. I ended up being open to my therapist. I found out I had anxiety. I found out I had depression. I was like, "Oh yeah, I have this." I was able to talk about my feelings for once to a person that I didn't even know. And it was just crazy. I was able to talk to my parents about everything. And inpatient really changed my life. And when I got out of inpatient, it was just crazy. Like, the joy and the amount I've grown. I was there for 90 days, but it was just like a crazy experience. Like, I'm so grateful for that. Like, I don't know. It's just like, I'm really grateful for that. And when I got out of inpatient, I had to go back to outpatient. They said, "You should go to AA too." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to AA. Like, I got outpatient. That's it. That's all I need to do." I got back home. I felt like a whole new person. And I was so excited to share my day count with the outpatient that I was in before, where I couldn't like stop using. I wanted to go to the same one because I had like a whole new mindset. And I went back and I told them my day count, and I talked to this therapist, and it was just a whole different thing. Like, I was able to like talk about my feelings now, and I was able to. It was just way different. It was just way different. And I ended up going to AA when I got back from outpatient. And I didn't really like it at first, but I liked the fact that I felt something when I left the room. And I felt something that like I never felt before, and I felt like I wanted to grow when I went to AA, and it felt good. And I knew that I got something out of it every single time. But that took me a while in AA, but I ended up liking it more and more because I found out that I'm growing from AA and I'm meeting new people that can help me in like my support group. Now I'm gonna get I'm getting into the sobriety stuff already, but like something that really helps me. Is that the 5 minute time?
So after this is up, you have 5 minutes.
Okay. So yeah, like AA and outpatient really helped me in my recovery. Like it's helped me so much. Like I have a really good support group that that like helps me so much. I have outpatient. I have like a really good therapist. And it's just crazy like how much I've grown from where I was in January. I got sober March 4th, 2019. It's just like crazy. Like I love seeing myself grow, and I never thought I would ever say that. But I was in such a bad place before, and I didn't think I would have a life. And now, like I feel like I'm able to like live, and like I'm just so grateful for every day I have, because I could have really died like many times. And there was many like scary experiences when I was using, but there also have been scary experiences when I'm sober. And something that like really helps me throughout the day is just to like, I like to do a gratitude list every single night. And I pray and I do meditation every night too, which really helps me a lot. I know I'm kind of skipping, I'm sorry. But yeah, and also like my school, I changed schools too, because that school was just really bad for me. Like I would use there all the time. I would steal at lunchtime and just drink in the bathrooms, and I had really bad friends there. And yeah, now I go to the school that helps kids in recovery, and there's really good therapy, and it's really helping me a lot, but it's still hard for me to go to school. Sorry. And yeah, I don't know, just sobriety has brought a lot to my life. I'm able to have a good relationship with my parents. I'm able to have amazing friendship, like actual friendships where I can talk about my feelings with. And I have an amazing like girlfriend that helps me so much, and it's just like the best relationship I could ask for. And like I'm so grateful for every moment I have in sobriety. I'm grateful for this room because this is one of my favorite meetings, and I'm really grateful to share here. And yeah, I don't know, just like I also have to look at sobriety as like my main thing. Like I have to see sobriety as like a stable thing, and I have to make sure like my friends, family, and whatever school has to be like below my sobriety. Because if I don't have this stable, I'm not gonna have this. You know what I mean? Like if it goes up and this falls down, like I'm gonna lose everything. So I really have to be careful about that. And I don't know. I'm just like grateful to like be alive and be sober today, and that's all I really got for today.